Good evening. I call to order this City of Jarrell regular call City Council meeting Tuesday, November 7th, 2023 at 7 p.m. First item on the agenda is the roll call, with all members present. Next, we'll have an invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Tanya Clausen.
Dear Heavenly Father, tonight I come before you to give thanks, Lord. I want to thank you for the opportunity that I have to serve the great city of Jarrell. I want to thank you for our mayor and all of our council members and all their dedication to the city and what they do. Lord, I thank you for the staff. I thank you for our citizens. There's a lot to give thanks for. I thank you for our first responders. We have a great team, Lord, and those that are willing to serve, I give thanks for them as well, Lord. Just know that we all serve with a passion for this city and this community. And we give thanks for the opportunity to even be able to participate in service. Please continue to watch over us and lead us and guide us in all of our decisions. We ask for your guidance in your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is going to be public comments. First person we have here is Kathy Ward. Please come to the podium. I think so. I'm not sure.
All right, my name is Kathy Ward, C-A-T-H-Y-H-O-R-D. I live at 325 Jake with my husband Billy. We've been there since April of 2016. I'm coming to you, thank you for your service, thank you for the time and your attention, to discuss our water bills and the home place. We seem to be having a problem there. I looked at my bills 2020, 2021, I fluctuated between 2,700 gallons and 17,000 gallons, and bills that ran between $97 and $151. In 2022, I received one bill that said I used no water that month. I received two bills that said I used 5 gallons that month. One that said 100, one that said 30, one that said 50, two that said 2,000. Finally, there was one that said 7,426, and my bills ran from $94 to $115. I wasn't sure how it was measured. I thought maybe 5 was actually 5,000, but apparently it is just 5. In 2023, I've gotten 4 bills that said I've used no water. I've gotten one bill that said I used 2,003 gallons and 2 bills that said I used 2,000. But in June, I received a bill that said I used 69,419 gallons, which is enough to fill my backyard 3 feet deep in water. I came and talked to your employees here. They were very nice, said they would look into it and get back to me. I never heard from them. But I did get a credit on my next month's bill, and they charged me the minimum for that month and the next month. I got a 0 bill again that said I used no water. I came down and said, hey, this is my bill. It says I didn't use any water again. We'll get back to you, and they haven't. My husband has called numerous times and said, would you please, look into this and get back to me? And they have not. I understand they've been terribly busy with lots of things. I know that they don't read the meters, and I know they don't bill. I know that's contracted out. I thought everything was okay until last month I got a bill for 52,407 gallons at $386. Came down and talked to them. They said, look, they look into it, and I still haven't heard anything. At this point, I've lost faith in my utility district. I don't know what's going to happen every month when I get my bill. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I either need a water meter that works, or I need a meter reader that works. So I'm just asking if you guys would look into it and see what you can do to help us out in the home place and see if we can get faith back into our city government again. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
All right. Jan Brandon, please come up.
I've lived in Jarrell my whole life, almost.
first thing I wanted to talk about was I walked in tonight. My parents had flags that were put out front in honor of them. I'm very sad at the way it looks. Things around the flagpoles are broken, and I wish that would get fixed. Another thing that I wanted to, we need a four-way stop at Home Place. Somebody's gonna get killed trying to cross that road. Another thing was, who was the idiot that put no taxes on the apartments for 99 years? Nobody's gonna guess up.
We're not allowed to
Oh,
talk back.
I don't understand that. How are the schools supposed to take care of the children that live in the apartments when they're not getting any taxes? And I think this needs to get changed, and from what I read, the appraisal district can change it. I don't know if that's true or not. And I also read an article that the mayor said in the article that he wanted to use the payments on utilities to pay for Jarrell city expenses and not use the city taxes. You made that comment, right? Yes. Okay, but the main thing on here today is to follow up with our water bills. I lived in Houston for about 20 years, leaving Jarrell and then coming back, and I have never in my life used the water that the water department says I use. I had a large swimming pool. I had a third of an acre, much larger than what I have here now, and I can't afford $300, $400, $500 a month bills. Something's got to stop. And the water department will never contact you. I came over here before the 15th of one month, and she said she'd get back to me that afternoon, nothing. I've never had it fixed. I called one day, talked to the assistant, and it was more excuses. Excuse after excuse after excuse. And I told her I'm tired of excuses, I want something done. So please hear me. I am just at my wit's end. And I really wish that y'all could get something done, please. And as a side note, as I was telling you about the flags, I buried my dad today.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Garrett Smith.
Good evening. Yeah, my name is Gary Smith. My wife and I live on 417 Western Sky. Kind of just talking about what has already been discussed. Our water bill is, to just say it's ridiculous is a little bit of an understatement. Going back to when we first moved in, our water bills have averaged from November of 22 to May of 23, about 4,200 gallons a month. Come to August of this year, we're at 13.7. September is at 23.8, which is a 74% increase over the month before. In October, it was 50,059 gallons, which is a 265% increase over August, which was high to begin with. During that same time, we were home, our smart devices showed that we used 37% less water and 80% less water respectively, and yet we're being billed significantly higher. And in October, this is the month with 50,000 gallons used, reminded that 265% higher, and we used 80% less. We were not home for 20 days that month. We don't have a swimming pool, it's two of us living there. Sprinklers clearly were not running. Doing the math on that shows that we use approximately 1.15 gallons per minute every day for the entirety of the month. and that's clearly not what happened. So, again, as we've had already, I would ask that you'll look into that. Our average bill went from $122 to one in October is $368, which is 3 times higher than our average. I've called, I've asked, we'll look into it. That's all I've gotten. So I hope that I get more than that, or that y'all can do more than just look into it, can actually do something. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. The last card we have here is Jeff Soto.
Give me a couple seconds, I'm gonna have to talk fast. I live at home place, obviously, and just want to get my papers out here before you start my clock. Mayor, honorable members of City Council, I stand before you today to address a pressing concern that is affecting the residents of Home Place, and that the exorbitant water bills we have been receiving. This issue has become particularly distressing since the installation of new electronic water meters in our development. Many of our neighbors have been confronted with baffling water bills that are, to put it bluntly, utterly preposterous. These bills are attributed to the remarkable spike in gallon usage, with some going from bare minimum to an astounding 50,000 gallons. To put this in perspective, that's more than what our local travel stop uses. When our residents come to City Hall to address this issue, they are met with an experience that is both unsettling and disheartening. They are instructed to stand in the lobby when a woman comes out. I don't know her name, but you're a good friend, Diane. I don't know her name. Anyway, she sits in the lobby bench, leaving them standing at the entrance as they discuss their personal billing problems and financial concerns. This situation has been ongoing for months, and despite repeated efforts to bring this matter to the attention of city management, we have had no significant resolution. In response, the response we frequently receive from the city is that the fault lies with our irrigation systems, hidden leaks, or the fact that we were never charged significantly enough for the old meters. Promises are made to investigate, but these assurances never translate into action. Calls are always promised, never returned. This has left many on auto pay plans with unexpected and burdensome surprises when they review their credit card statements. In a time of escalating inflation, skyrocketing costs, we earnestly implore the City Council to direct the city management to address these complaints promptly and work toward a resolution and possible reimbursement to the affected residents. Our city's on a path of growth, and with it comes increased revenue from water usage. It's important to remember that we have commitments in place to pay Troy Bradshaw 50 cents per 1,000 gallons or whatever it is in perpetuity for his contribution in constructing of the water tower that the city now owns. In light of all these considerations, we sincerely request immediate attention to the resolution to this matter. We believe it is crucial to provide our residents with proper notification regarding the solution to this predicament. Our city continued growth and development depends on the trust and well-being of our residents, and we owe it to them to address this issue without further delay. Thank you for your time and your commitment to addressing this matter that affects the livelihoods and financial stability of so many residents in the Home Place, particularly those on fixed income. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is item number 3, proclamations. We have a proclamation declaring November 6th to 10th as Municipal Court Week. Mayor Pro Tem Rusty Bryson is going to read it.
A proclamation recognizing the importance of municipal courts, the rule of law, and the fair and impartial administration of justice, in recognition of Municipal Court Week as of November 6th through 10th, 2023. Whereas municipal courts play a significant role in preserving public safety and promoting quality of life in Texas. Whereas the City of Jarrell Municipal Court was established in 2003. Whereas as authorized by the state law, the City of Jarrell Council appointed Judge Scott Matthews as municipal judge for the Jarrell Municipal Court in 2008. Whereas the procedures for the Jarrell Municipal Court operations are set forth in the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, other laws of the state of Texas, as well as ordinances adopted by the City of Jarrell Council. Whereas the City of Jarrell is committed to the notion that our legal system is based on the principle that an independent, fair, and competent judiciary will interpret and apply the laws that govern us, and that judges and court personnel shall comply with the law and act in a manner that promotes public confidence in the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Jarrell, Texas, that the week of November 6th through November 10th, 2023 is hereby recognized as Municipal Court Week in recognition of the fair and impartial justice offered to our citizens by the judge and the staff of the Municipal Court of Jarrell, Texas. In witness thereof, we have affixed our signature and seal on this 7th day of November, 2023. Mayor Patrick.
We're good?
Make sure it is.
Good evening. I just wanted to just take a couple of minutes just to say thank you for your continued confidence in my serving here at the City of Jarrell. This January will be 15 years, and I just want to say thank you to Diane, Sabra, and everyone who works with me every month to make sure that the court runs smoothly. It has been our goal to treat the citizens fairly and equitably and make sure that we can provide for public safety and at the same time, we're not here to just find people and punish them. So thank you all for the work that you do. The City Council, it's been a pleasure watching this city continue to grow and prosper. And thank you for the work that you all do.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 4, consent agenda items. If there are no objections, I'll accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
I'm
Unanimous?
having to abstain since I wasn't here for that second meeting.
Okay. All right, agenda item number 5, our regular agenda items. 5.1, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the meeting dates for November 20th, 2023, to canvass the election results and for the January holiday.
Great, thank you, Mayor. As you all should be aware, on November 20th, we will need to have a special meeting in order to canvass the election results. We don't have a very long time frame to do that in. I believe the county will have their final results by that Friday, and the Monday is the 20th, and that's when we're required to have it canvassed by. So that gives us that Monday for that special meeting. It is the week, a holiday week, but just wanted to make sure y'all were aware of that. The second date we wanted to discuss with y'all was for the January holiday. Now that we have moved our council meetings to the first Tuesday, it falls on January 2nd. And so we're suggesting that you may want to move that back by a week to January 9th. And if so, a motion and a second vote would be wonderful.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Agenda item 5.2, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding resolution number 2023-1107-01 to call for a public hearing, the annexation of the Collins Tract FM 487 for 10 acres out of the James Roebuck Survey number 527. Jordan.
Mayor and council, this 10-acre tract is located just south of the high school on 487. The intent is to do a mixed-use development. Currently, they're outside of city limits. With that being said, this is the first step to bring them in and annex them. After we call this public hearing, we go through all the notices, we go through the actual public hearing, and we do the boundary change ordinance. For this site specifically, there isn't a full picture of what they're trying to do. It's pretty early in the process, but we do have. They've been working with the engineer to get utilities and what that looks like and the offsite improvements they're gonna have to do. It's all part of that process to get going on development. So this is just a resolution for the public hearing, the date and time to be set for us to do notices and start the process. I'm here if there are any questions about this track specifically at this time.
I appreciate the efforts now to give us a little bit more information as to how planning is developing these and they go along, so we have an outline as to what's happening. My only desire is that we get very little time to look at these things. And you get them Friday, we got to look at them now. But since this is just a call for to have a meeting about it, I'll make a motion to approve if no one else has questions.
Just a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Water, sewer, and all that down there. Are we gonna have to run something down there? Do we have something already in process down there?
So if there's lines already running across the front of it, it's just across the street from the Balcony subdivision. So there's both the property and a force main in front of it, as well as a 12-inch water line right across the street. So they're in theory there, but getting capacity and serving them, that's a completely different situation that we have to work out through engineering.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor in a second.
Just on your checklist,
Yes, ma'am.
update the bottom for public hearing and council adoption.
Yes, so the resolution will be updated to reflect the decision made in the last agenda item, that we will be moving the meeting to January. And everything will reflect and be updated, and this will be included in your packet at that public hearing with the date.
Great.
Thank you, Jordan.
We have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Agenda item 5.3, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding resolution number 2023-1107-02 to call for a public hearing, the annexation of 28.4718 acres out of the Isaac Bunker Survey number 54, situated in Williamson County and recorded in document number 2017112948 in Williamson County and real property records.
Mayor and council, this is a very similar item. This track is on 305, just south of the Canyon Ranch subdivision that's going in. Same situation, there's utilities on site, we just have to figure out the best way to get there. They are still also trying to figure out what they want to do as far as use. This again just kicks off their development process and gets the ball rolling.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion to approve in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. It is unanimous. Agenda item 5.4, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding resolution number 2023-1107-03. Call for a public hearing for the annexation of 5 acres out of the Isaac Bunker Survey number 54 in Williamson County at 11250 IE 35 in Jarrell, Williamson County, Texas 76537.
Mayor and council, on this one specifically, I would like to start off by saying we will need to make an amendment to the agenda. It should be 5.66 acres. It will also be reflected on the resolution. So this track is on County Road 313 and FB Schwetner and 35. There's a little corner track. The intended use is a quick trip. So they still have to go through their zoning process. This annexation may be dependent upon that zoning being granted. But again, this is the start of the conversation. We are still working out utilities. Jarrell Schwetner Water will be the provider, and it's looking pretty likely that it's going to be a septic project. So they'll have to go through Williamson County for all of that as well.
Now, have you declined anything, as far as, fitting into your development, UDC?
We have not made it that far yet.
On the septic, what's the reason for the septic? We just don't have anything out there?
We don't. So the nearest provider is the Solitaire Mud District. At this point in time, they do not have capacity in their existing facilities right there. We have a 5 to 7 year plan to potentially get sewer out there, but nothing is set in stone. So the two options would be septic or delaying the process until we get a more clear picture of what it looks like.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
On these annexations that we're going to do possibly, on the background information, they said owner declined development agreement. Can you explain that to me, please?
So state law requires that at the time of annexation, we offer a development agreement. Typically, these are used on major infrastructure improvements. If we're doing major line extensions, water, wastewater, lift stations, package plants, things of that nature, road improvements, things that are outside of the bounds of our current development code. Most of these projects don't check those boxes, so the owner has the option, just as every owner does, to decline a development agreement. We just legally have to offer it, and every single one was offered the same situation.
Okay, thank you. I was just curious. Make a motion to approve the 5.66 acres.
All right, we have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Abstain.
4 to 1. Agenda item 5.5, discussion, consideration of possible action regarding resolution number 2023-1107-04 to call for a public hearing and for the annexation of the 9.02 acres out of the Edmund Parsons Survey number 494, situated in Williamson County, and recording in document number 2023-002-245 as tract 1 in deed records.
Mayor and council, I'm sure some of you may be more familiar with the Circle K track and the current state of it. It has recently been taken over, and the new management would like to do a lot of renovations on site and bring it up to more of a fitting facility, possibly add some commercial on their property on the back end as well. So the point of this annexation is it's double whammy. They're gonna bring in the back portion of their track so that they can continue to do development past the Circle K station itself. And then it also gives them the ability to improve the existing facilities on site and bring them up to more of what we see traditionally as our standards today.
I think they came to us a few years ago asking us when Ronald Reagan was finished if we would be interested in them doing that. So, I know that was 3 or 4 years ago. It's been a while. Yeah.
And they've been patiently waiting.
Yes. Yeah.
They just think now's the time and we're ready to get it done.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Agenda item 5.6, discussion, consideration, and action regarding approval of the interlocal agreement with Williamson County for the annual dispatch and related IT charges.
Be careful, Chief. Be careful.
Chief Stout.
Mr. Mayor, Council, the Williamson County currently provides all dispatch and supporting services for the Jarrell Police Department. The ILA is a new agreement between the city of Jarrell and Williamson County for police dispatching services. We haven't been charged that since 2017 when the original agreement was in place, and this is just to spread that cost between the local government entities.
So we haven't been charged since 2017. Is this because we need a new agreement with them?
Now, the original agreement in 2017 allowed basically Williamson County to provide all dispatch services for all towns within Williamson County. The other towns can afford it.
Right, and so
Now they're catching up, and because of the growth
yes.
and the increasing cost of dispatching services, they're asking now for each city to pay their own city.
So in your professional opinion, is there anything that we should be worried about with this contract? I looked it over, but.
The only thing that I have questions about, which we'll look at going forward, right now it's fine, there's nothing that I see that's an issue. The number of calls that are actually generated and that we're gonna be charged for based on those calls is something we need to keep an eye on, because we're giving 2,500 calls for free per year, but that actually may be, there may be some overlap between us, covering calls at different locations for them. So we need to make sure that we're not getting double hit on that.
My question on that too, when we look at the number of calls coming in, for example, there was a recent call that I'd asked you about, and there was at least 4 911 calls. Has that been accounted for, or is it by situation or by phone call?
Each time, from what my understanding is, each time that is touched by a dispatcher, we're charged.
So all 4 of those would have counted for the one situation?
I think those would, yeah, they would ultimately be charged individually, but that's what we're talking about going back and including those in one charge.
I know that you're fairly new with us, appreciate you being here. Do you have any idea how many calls they actually did for us last year, roughly?
I gave that as part of the packet for you, the information, but I suppose, my copy does not
Yeah.
come out that way,
All right.
so.
Okay.
It was, yeah, it's about, I don't know the exact number
Yeah.
of calls we had, but they
Probably
based,
just comparing some consider.
so the only alternative we have is to start our own e-bot, our own dispatching services. And to do that would be a significant financial burden on the city if we just go ahead and pick up the agreement.
Couple questions, maybe out of the box, but glad to see you here and, addressing these situations. The amount that we pay for 911, I guess, will increase significantly as our growth increases. I'm sure you've taken a look maybe at that, and you've seen that it might be possible that we answer our own call and maybe actually get somebody on the desk to be able to answer some local calls to be able to dispatch them in a different manner. Perhaps, and just on top of that, your opinion on perhaps policing over in the Sotera area as
Well, the mud, we don't cover primarily.
well. Well, understand.
Yes, or Homestead. But we do answer a significant amount of calls because Williamson County often does not have enough deputies or enough deputies in that area. So we end up taking those, and when we do take them, we get charged for it. So that's part of that 2,500, which kind of balances out this year and next year. As we increase significantly, I guess the cutoff line would be, it takes about $1.5 million to start showing BPOC and to staff it with dispatchers. So until we reach that point in time where that investment's going to be worthwhile for us to do, paying Williamson County even $75,000 a year is not going to be significant enough for us to move on to that.
I mean, again, in an off-topic situation, and I get a lot of calls on as well, these bullets being fired over in Sotera. Any update from Williamson County as to identification or actual provocation of people in that?
No.
So it remains the same. Thank you.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Agenda item 5.8, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding ordinance number 2023-110. Oh, sorry, 5.7. Discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a budget amendment for the capital project fund. Ms. Singh.
Thank you, Mayor. As you may recall, during the budget process, we talked a little bit about the capital project fund and how I did not want to allocate any funds in this fiscal year because we have some reconciliation to do with some of the expenses that have been operational expenses and not necessarily bond expenses. But that we were gonna have to come and roll forward the budget so that we could actually pay our bills now that our new fiscal year has begun. And so what I've done is there's 4 line items that are gonna roll forward. It's 2 current construction projects, 1 project that's under design, and then the easement line item because we consistently have easements that we need to acquire for projects, and so I wanted to make sure we did have funding for that. Now, I did adjust the funding amounts because we were not fully budgeted for the construction amounts. And so what I did was I added whatever was remaining in there, plus 10%. And so you will see that those items are higher than what was actually budgeted in the last fiscal year. I only did the ones that I know are currently active, so it's possible we may have additional items that we need to bring and roll forward. And at some point, we will have all of that reconciled and can tell you what the balance is, and that's part of, the audit that we'll talk about a little bit later. And the total amount is around 9.5 million for those 4 line items.
I remember us talking about that when we did the budget. I make a motion to approve the budget amendment for the capital projects fund.
We have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. That's unanimous. All right, agenda item 5.8, discussion, consideration, and possible action on ordinance number 2023-1107-05, an ordinance amending chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances by establishing the purchasing authority for the city manager. Ms. Singh.
Great, thank you, Mayor. This is one item, so whenever I first got here, I started to look to see where there was an ordinance or a policy that had, dictates exactly how much I'm either able to enter into contracts for, or my purchasing authority. It's typically 50,000 at most municipalities. I asked, some of you have had some conversations. It seems everybody I've talked to, the assumption was that it was 50,000 in practice, but I have not been able to find any documentation on that. And so what this would do is create an ordinance, so that that's set in stone and that amount of what it is. I'm proposing 50,000 because again, that's pretty standard across the board and it's what was done in practice here. But this is only for budgeted line items. It doesn't give any authority beyond that. It would have to come to council for budget amendments.
I'd just like to check with Art, we have no limit on that. I was under the assumption that it was 50,000 something.
No, I've not been able to find one, and I don't have, obviously Diana is one that maintains all the official ordinances of the city, but I don't believe there are 2B1.
But Diana, have we ever gone over that $50,000 mark, in the past without bringing it to council? Like, we don't know?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2023-1107-05 as written.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous?
Yes.
Okay. All right, agenda item 5.9. Discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a professional services agreement for the fiscal year 2022-2023 annual audit. Ms. Singh.
All right, thank you. This item is to contract with an auditor to perform our annual audit. A few months ago, I had sent council a request for proposal that we issued back in, I think we issued it back in September. It was due October 13th, and we did not receive any responses to that. And so this is one of those things, it's professional services. The RFP was never required, but it's typically good to go out and see who might be interested in the project. I suspect the reason that we did not receive a lot of responses is that it's starting to get into the busy season for auditors. And so I did reach out to 2 different firms. I did not hear back from one of them. I have a proposal that's in your packet for Armstrong, Vaughn and Associates. They are the firm that's currently handling Village of Salados, and so I talked to their city administrator and they did recommend them. I believe our city attorney has other clients that have used these auditors and they have a good reputation. The total amount is for $28,700. It would start in January and they do think they can have it finished up by March. And as you will also recall during the budget process, we talked about reconstructing our fund balances. They believe they can do that as part of this process as long as we have some other things going on concurrently. And so we're hopeful that will get everything shored up and we'll be able to have those final numbers. So we are recommending that you go with this company, but the council ultimately can make that decision.
I believe I sent you information as to 2 other firms that need to be considered. Again, I advise council, it's our decision to make. I would like to actually vet a little bit more. Never heard of an accounting firm that wouldn't come in and say, yeah, we'll add additional people to get it done. Questions that I have. We have an auditor. We've been audited. We've used them for years. And my question will be more along the lines, Mayor, of are we doing a forensic audit here? Is that what we're looking to do? Or is it the same type of accounting method that has been used by our previous auditors?
I mean, Ms. Singh is the one that put the budget together, so I would assume that she would know. I haven't talked to them directly, but I assume that is.
I mean, if we're
City
going back
employee's
to
job,
doing,
correct?
it's very, very important, well, yeah, it's very
Okay.
important that you know as CEO what we're doing. Is it a forensic audit? Are we going to look at every line item and do a balancing because we feel corruption was had in the last audits or our auditors were no good? Or is it the methodology that they used in order to do the audits, which have been approved and look stellar when we look at it? So I just don't see the eminent move to have to jump and pick when we can actually look at other people and know what we're actually doing as a council.
Respectfully, Jeff, how
Yes.
is they've given us a pretty detailed presentation of what they're going to do. How does that compare to what's been done in the past?
I don't understand
How
your
does this
statement.
proposal that they've submitted to us compare to the proposals you've had done in the past?
I'm not sure, okay, I'll be honest, because I don't get that information. I don't have the information of exactly what our auditing is gonna be. Again, my question is, what are we doing in that audit? Let me try to be more specific for people who don't understand. There's different methodologies used in audits. You may decide to go in and pick 10 line items and pull them out of a total overall budget, and as long as everything looks good, they say everything's fine. A forensic audit is going in and looking at it line by line, person by person. What has been spent? Is it keeping good? Are we taking from one fund, moving it to another that's improper? Is that what we're looking for? Or is it just to change auditors for what purpose?
What would you like to do? What are you proposing?
Well, I'm
Do you want
proposing that I
forensic
would like to
audit?
understand what we're doing. Why are we changing auditors?
I'm happy to answer that question. So it's not to the level of a forensic audit, it's reconstructing our fund balance. And so what they will do is they will start with the amount that was in the previous audit, and they will go back and they will verify the expenses to get to the actual amount. The reason we need to change auditors is.
Yeah, I understand the conference.
Yeah, so typically you don't wanna have an audit firm for more than 5 years, is my understanding. We've had this current firm for 5 years exactly, I believe, or at least for 5 years. The other thing is we've been put on notice that if we do not change audit firms,
And bonds might be.
that we will not get another bond rating, and so that is a pretty serious thing that we need
But
to
again,
respond
I
to.
just want to reiterate then, can we say that we're not doing a forensic audit? We're just changing auditing firms because you don't want to keep them for 5 years.
Would there be a problem if we decided to do one in the future?
No, I have no problem
Well,
with getting
it
an
kinda
auditor in
sounds
here
like-
now, I'm just interested in what we're
It just
doing,
sounds like you do.
what are we looking at?
It's a reconstructive audit, so this is about twice as much as our audits would typically cost us. I believe last year we paid about 14,000, if I remember correctly.
And then
yeah.
it's more in depth.
It is,
Okay.
but it's not forensic, because it's not gonna go, to that level of detail, but it is reconstructive, because we do have to go in and actually verify those expenses.
Basically verifying our auditors that have audited us previously.
Yes, because last time we went out for our bond rating, the rating agencies could not get the numbers to reconcile and were not satisfied with the responses they got.
Okay, now that's kind of blunt. So were you saying it didn't come in to line in the last,
I'm saying
Budget.
that they were concerned with it. I mean, this is the reason I can't get to a fund balance. This is,
who was concerned with that?
S&P, the rating agency.
Okay, S&P didn't
And our
think our
financial
numbers were good.
advisor. They had concerns with them.
And you, just to reiterate, you did issue an RFP.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, I'll also bring up that RFP. To put an RFP out in County Sun, again, does not have the reach. I provided Danielle, we can do the RFP right online, and they'll respond back to you with that RFP. So just putting it in Williamson County Sun does not give us the reach of the county firms that handle big cities, little cities, and have staff that could take care of this. My only concerns, other than that, I mean, I have no problem.
Our approval is to post, is that correct?
Correct. And staff can go out and solicit, send the information directly to audit firms. I did consider doing that, but I was concerned that then it would look like I was influencing the process. Of course, when we got no responses, I did have to go out and solicit proposals for it, but my intent was to not have any involvement in that process if possible.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve Armstrong Bond and Associates PC.
Yes, someone's got the second.
There's a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Agenda item 5.10, discussion consideration of possible action regarding closure of city offices in December.
Right, so this is a request, so our holiday schedule, our personnel policy is not extremely clear, since our, December 25th falls on a Sunday, I believe it is, and so it talks about, I'm sorry, it falls on a Monday. Christmas Eve falls on a Sunday, and so it says if a holiday is observed on a Sunday, it closes, we close on Monday before it's already closed. So what we're proposing to do is set what the actual schedule is. So December 22nd and 25th is what we would like to observe as the days that our office is closed. But the second part of that request is that, as you're all aware, on December 16th, we're having our citywide holiday celebration. And one of the things we'll do is ask employees to volunteer their time to work on that Saturday. They would be given compensatory time. And so I spoke to several of the employees to see if they might be interested in taking that on a certain day since it's so close to the holidays. And there was significant interest in that. And so I'm requesting that we could actually close the office on December 21st so that everybody would have that opportunity to take it at the same time. Employees will not be required to volunteer. We would still remain open, just not to the public. So it's a request to essentially close the office for those 3 days.
Have we explored the possibility of those that contribute to that event actually get a day off if they choose? In a future date so that we can keep offices open perhaps and then have other people take a day off for their compensation.
That would be the alternative to this. It was just to allow, assuming with the holidays coming up, there would be a lot of interest in everybody taking an additional day at that time.
Is the staff good with that? I'm good with that. I mean, however they want to do it.
And this would give them the option. It's not forcing them to take it on that day. It's just, we'll be closed, and if they decide that's not the day they want to take it, we catch up on work and that type of thing, but just to give them the option.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. This vote is unanimous. We are now adjourned into closed executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 for a consultation with the city attorney regarding wholesale water contract with Jarrell Townsend.
That's why I was more of it, because
The Jarrell City Council is now back in session at 8:10 p.m. Agenda item number 7.1, discussion, consideration, of possible action regarding the wholesale water contract with Jarrell Town Center. We have no action. That is everything. We are adjourned at 8:10 p.m.
All right.